Well, I'm beginning the long journey back from Alaska after the summit of President Trump and President Putin, but I've had time to look at what the Russian newspapers are saying this morning, both about the summit and about President Zelensky's crucial Monday meeting in the White House. The main messages seem to be these: that the summit went well for Moscow, with Donald Trump moving closer to the Kremlin's position on Ukraine. The papers expect President Trump to deliver an ultimatum to President Zelensky to make a deal, and they suggest that Europe will try to derail it. In Moskovsky Komsomolets, there's a triumphant tone after Donald Trump seemingly dropped his demand for an immediate Russian ceasefire in Ukraine to focus on securing a peace agreement, amid reports that Russia continues to demand that Ukraine hand over to Russia those parts of the Donbass, Ukrainian territory, remember, that are still under Ukrainian control. Trump has adopted Russia's position as the basis of his ultimatum to Zelensky. The world is changing, returning from the liberal gloom to reality in which Russia's position, in fact, is real and normal. Simply put, Russia left the summit with the same position with which it came, but now it is shared by Trump. Trump will present his peace ultimatum directly to Zelensky on Monday, and there is practically no doubt that this is an ultimatum. The US president has already advised Volodymyr Zelensky to make a deal with Russia to resolve the conflict, saying Russia's a very big power and they're not. Trump breaks Zelensky. There will be no ceasefire as Kyiv and Europe had planned. Komsomolskaya Pravda says that President Zelensky will have to listen to what is in effect an ultimatum from Trump and react to it immediately with a yes or no. What's more, he'll be required to give his answer right there in the Oval Office, because Trump intends to convene a trilateral summit, Putin, Trump, Zelensky, on the 22nd of August, and if he doesn't get consent, the summit idea will go down the tube. Then Zelensky risks leaving the White House like he did in February. The Russian government paper Rossiyskaya Gazeta quotes Vladimir Putin as saying that his conversation with Donald Trump was very honest, substantive, and moves us towards the necessary decisions. From the Kremlin's perspective, necessary decisions means, among other things, territorial concessions from Ukraine. This opinion piece suggests that the main shift was that Trump recognized the opinion of his interlocutor as correct, that a lasting peace is more important than a temporary ceasefire. To what extent he's actually able to force Kyiv to make serious concessions is an open question. Washington has enough leverage, but it's not so easy to apply directly and immediately get the desired result. Trump is ready to put the responsibility for making difficult decisions onto his Ukrainian visitor. If he refuses, Ukraine will get the blame. Then Trump gets an excuse to distance himself from military, technical and financial assistance to Kyiv. After Alaska, there is no guarantee of a quick settlement. Setbacks are not only possible, they are inevitable. The problem is too complex and the result is not predetermined. And the character of the American president is subject to fluctuations. However, a qualitatively different phase has begun. Perhaps it should be called a pragmatic search for a way out. Writing about the support team of European leaders in Washington with President Zelensky, Izvestia asks, can they influence the positions of Russia and America? Kyiv and Brussels are becoming the chief obstacle to agreements reached in Anchorage. After the President's summit in Alaska, the position of the US President regarding how to settle the Ukraine conflict changed. Now the US agrees with Russia that a ceasefire is insufficient. A full-scale peace agreement is needed as a firm basis for peace. On the eve of the White House meeting, President Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff claimed that the Kremlin had agreed to NATO-style security guarantees for Ukraine, but an analyst tells Izvestia the so-called proposal for security guarantees, according to which Ukraine will not be able to join NATO, but will be able to receive alternative security guarantees, possibly modelled on NATO's Article 5, is highly likely to lead to the failure of the negotiation process. From Moscow's point of view, this will be seen as Ukraine's accession to NATO, but under a different name.